Eminem won an AMA award for the Best Male Hip Hop Artist of 2024, beating Kendrick Lamar, who arguably had the greatest year any hip hop artist has ever had in history. What up? I'm Sean Longevity with Bringing Down the Band and the New Old Heads. And we're going to talk about Eminem, who beat Kendrick Lamar in an AMA, and what this kind of signifies.
So Eminem wins favorite male hip-hop artist at the 2025 American Music Awards. I guess his response was thank you to the fans. It's been 22 years since Eminem took home his first AMA. The Detroit rapper took home the win over the likes of Drake, Future, Tyler, the Creator, and Kendrick Lamar. It's the 9th American Music Award victory for M, coming off GNX Super Bowl.
You already know where we're going to go with this. Kendrick Lamar had one of the best years in hip hop any artist has ever had. We're not going to talk about, and this conversation is not going to be anything about bashing Eminem. Okay, this is not about Eminem. This is about society, and this is about why a bunch of people that voted felt like a white rapper belongs and was voted for be male rapper of the year.
Kendrick beef, whatever you want to call that. What does this really say? Because at the end of the day, M still is in the winner slot.
Well, this is voted on by fans, essentially.
But fans have been engulfed, I believe, in the Kendrick Drake thing, or is that just a niche?
I mean,
is that a niche?
Terry is extremely polite.
We're talking about Eminem.
We are.
And what kind of
I'm
fans
just
does
asking.
Eminem have? Eminem's fans span more than just people that listen to hip hop.
That's fair.
There's people that listen to Death of Slim Shady that did not listen to GNX at all. There's actually probably
or any other hip hop for that matter.
A lot of those people that listen to Death of Slim Shady and could care less about GNX.
So what you're telling me is the Drake and Kendrick battle, GNX, Super Bowl, lawsuit, Eminem's fan base is that powerful and that focused on him.
Well, they voted.
I'm just asking. What you're telling me is they're totally oblivious, clearly, to whatever has been going on because they love him that much.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay. Because this thing has been everywhere with Kendrick. You can't hide from that part.
You can't. But again, we're talking about people that couldn't wait to listen to Death of Slim Shady and could have cared less about GNX.
What does that say? What type of people
they've heard the diss tracks. They've heard that. I mean, it's in your face. It was at the Super Bowl.
For sure.
There's people that listen to Eminem that didn't like Kendrick's Super Bowl performance.
I wonder why.
You know what I'm saying?
He got me there.
So, I mean, this is Eminem we're talking about. Eminem has been out since, what, 99, 2000?
2000-ish, yeah.
And he came out swinging. He has a very big fan base. He's a very good rapper.
Yeah.
And regardless of who he calls out politically that he doesn't rock with, his fans still rock with him, even though those fans might vote against who he votes for. You know what I'm saying? If that makes any sense to you.
I tell you what, man. Now, we've all been aware of Eminem's power, his prominence, his legendary.
And his album was actually decent. I liked it.
Facts. But we've all been aware of his dominance and his power from a standpoint of being a hip hop legend. But this is one of those times where I'm like, he's Teflon at this point because
he's white.
He's white. He's definitely white.
That's all this is.
Is that what this is?
That's all that this is.
And let's keep it real. Did any of us vote for anything involving American music?
Let me be a little bit more clear when I say he's white. For those that are following along that maybe are not as hip. He is white in a black culture. He stands out because he's super talented in that culture. And because he is white, there just so happens to be, this is just the factual nature of what it is, there just so happens to be a lot of white people that do not like hip hop music in general, for whatever reasons they may give you, or you may have if you're watching this. But at the same time, will like Eminem If you're one of those people that does not like hip hop but likes Eminem, I need you to have a really deep conversation with you. Like, I need you to have a conversation, a realistic conversation with yourself about why that is. White people, generally speaking, especially if you're in an area where it's rural, less diverse, a smaller town, city, not as diverse, white people feel more comfortable around white people. You know what you know, and you don't know what you don't know. The fact that Eminem is the biggest rapper hip hop artist potentially of all time is because of the fact that even though hip hop is, and the best artists that come out of hip hop are black artists, he is more relatable to white people. And there are more white fans. Put two and two together. So that's what I mean by he's white. I kind of simplified it there for those that already know, but hopefully that's a little bit deeper. This isn't really opinion. I'm not even like stating an opinion. This is just the fact. I am a white person. I know what it was like to grow up in these towns. I know what it was like to see a white artist in 1999 for the first time when I was in high school, even though I was already into hip hop, to be like, oh, I kind of resonate with this guy, and to understand those internal biases and how those happened inside of my head. You can't tell me shit about this because I experienced it, I deconstructed it, and I learned from it, and I studied it. It's just what it is. So if this is you, please go deeper into that.
Music awards. I'm not even really aware of the process.
Yeah.
I like I said, I haven't. That used to be my thing, is watching the American Music Awards and the Grammys. It's just, but you know, I know the nominations are tabulated based on airplay and record sales, at least before, and then the whole fan voting comes into play. Also, the full album came out in the Death of Slim Shady came out in July.
It's important to note here that our entire conversation is not about Eminem. It's not about Eminem's greatness. It's about the fans. And it's about the fact that even though Eminem's album you can think it was the greatest thing that came out last year, Eminem did not have a male hip hop year like Kendrick Lamar had. And it was not even close.
You know, so that's several months before GNX.
Yeah.
So it had a longer time to cook in, you know, the voters' minds, whoever they are.
That's fair.
You know, you have to understand a lot of times it's a numbers thing still. You know, when was something released? Because sometimes people will be like, oh, why did that get nominated? Why didn't this? Sometimes things miss deadlines. And so that's why, you know, you'll look up and say, oh, well, this should have won this. I was like, well, it either wasn't. Sometimes with the Grammys, things aren't submitted, and sometimes things aren't submitted on time, or they miss the release window of when something could be nominated.
But that's not the case here.
No,
it's not. I'm saying we're talking about four people who are entrenched in hip hop.
Yes,
who have no idea of how I don't know how to vote on my favorite rap artist for the American Music.
This is a little bit of bail that I will give. Like, all this being said, I do not care about the AMAs. I just know that when I look at it from merit standpoint, if any award show, whether it's on Nickelodeon or whether it's on HBO or whether it's on whatever it is, in no reality should, no matter who the voting people are, should Eminem have won this award over Kendrick Lamar from last year. And if you do vote that way, then you should not be voting that way because it's nothing that you know about. That's all there is to it.
Awards, I'm not aware of the process.
True.
So, but I'm pretty sure the people who vote for Eminem and make sure that he gets his accolades on these national platforms, they know exactly what the process is.
Yeah,
Long stripped it all the way down, though. I want to get more into what you just said about, because you heard everything.
It's pretty cut and dry. I mean,
Yeah,
that
it's
just,
not
right,
to
that
the
just
point.
goes
Terry was
with
just
the
being
point.
nice.
Yeah,
Terry
that's
was
all
just
I
being
doing.
nice. He was just, you know.
Yeah.
So you got to the point of what he was actually saying. He's just white.
He's got a white fan base. He
cares about this a lot.
Yeah. They care about the AMAs. They think it means a lot. They, you know, even if you look at the comments on the post, because I went there just to kind of see, like, I was expecting a lot of people to be like, oh, this is some nonsense. People were like, oh, Eminem, congratulations. I'm like, number one, maybe they're bots. Who knows? Because dead internet theory.
We don't know at this
but
point.
At this point, but at the same time, it's like there's not an alternate reality where Eminem should win this award, outside of the fact that he is a white artist that has a lot of white fans that don't listen to hip hop, that aren't interested in hip hop culture at all, are quote unquote outsiders to the sense that they like to enjoy hip hop music, but that's it from a distance.
Eminem is their guy.
That's all it is. He's their guy. I'm not even like calling it racism necessarily. I'm just,
No,
it's
it's
just what it is. It's like white people relate more to white artists when they're not a part of something. In general, I think we all do to some degree. I mean, there's definitely racism in there, but that's neither here nor there.
I'm not saying, I wouldn't say racism. I would say more just race bias, if you will.
Fair enough.
Bias is a good word.
Racism
Bias is a
implies
good
there's
word.
a certain level of malice and
Racism
evil.
is systemic,
Yeah.
which is why
But
it would be racism.
Okay,
This is where it boils down.
This also goes into the definition of racism, where it's the only difference that me and Jay Moore had right there. We agree on the exact same thing. It was just the terminology of it. And that's where a lot of this stuff kind of fuels from people that, well, I don't want to be, I'm not racist. I like black people, or I'm not racist. I've never done this. It's just like, let's just agree on a definition first. You know what I mean? It's like, it's systemic. This is an institution. The AMAs are an institution. There's no way the AMAs as an institution should have had this outcome without a level of inherent bias that happens to be systemic, which means that it's racism. Anyways,
To that is when somebody says, "Oh, I don't like that rap crap," but what Eminem does,
yeah.
that's different.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
when it kind of crosses over that.
Yeah.
And Eminem is, you know what I'm saying? He's one of the most elite rappers, performers,
We've
hip
always said
hop
that.
artists of all
We
time,
always say that.
regardless. He'll even tell you that some of his fan base is biased. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. I have received the same type of bias as a white podcaster in this space. There are people that relate to me specifically for being a white person on this show. To be honest, for a couple years, it was the only reason I stayed on the show as a panelist, because I got tired of dealing with the hate. But there were always these other people that would look at me a little bit differently, and I felt like I could connect to them and I could have these type of conversations and help some of those discussions a little bit further, you know, for better or worse. But like, yeah, I witnessed the same thing. So I don't even think Eminem would be, the thing is I think Eminem would agree with us.
It just is what it is. But even Taylor Swift didn't win the AMA either. Billie Eilish won the AMA. So
The other
Taylor
white girl.
Swift had the biggest selling tour damn near of all time, I believe, stadium wise,
Yeah.
that just wrapped up last year. I mean, we all know the power and the strength that Taylor Swift fans,
Facts.
you know what I'm saying?
It's like
do.
having
So-
two Super Bowls here.
Yes.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, because they had, that was in Indianapolis, so we witnessed that.
I mean, it is what it is. This is a fan voted type of situation. Us as fans didn't vote for anybody.
Yeah.
It's
I'm not
just-
mad at it. Like,
I'm
I
not
don't,
either.
I
I'm
just,
not
I,
mad
I don't
at it
even
either.
care. Like,
yeah, it
to be
doesn't.
honest,
This doesn't bother me at all.
This is more so of anything else, just kind of pointing out what we see. It's like, this is occurring right here. This is happening. We notice that this has happened. It should not have happened. Do I care about the AMAs? No. Can they do what they want to do? Sure, whatever. But I'm still going to point out the fact that this is what it is.
I mean,
But it is kind of telling. And
Yeah.
It's very telling.
It's a reminder of where we are in the United States of America, in my opinion. It's just a further reminder of like, Kendrick Lamar can be the biggest hip hop artist, dominate an entire year, and every facet of media, hip hop, everything, Super Bowl, all these things, and white people will still say you're not good. You're not good enough.
because you know what? They looked at that ballot and
That's real.
the name that they recognize. Oh, Eminem's
It's
on here.
Eminem.
I'm
Yep.
voting for him.
That's implicit bias, right? So look into some of these terms and these ideas. Like, why do I think that way? You know, like if you're watching this and you're a little bit perturbed right now, just ask yourself why you're a little bit perturbed. You know, like lean into it a little bit further. Take yourself off the internet, breathe, and just think. This isn't a combative type of situation. Just, you know, go through those emotions. You know what I mean? But it's just, we all have biases. You know, it's okay to have biases. The problem is when those biases interfere with systems and people's lives, because those people that have those implicit biases exist in power positions. And when you have an entire group of people that have these implicit biases that are running an organization and nobody to counteract it, then stuff like this happens. DEI has been this crazy thing that everybody's crazy, you know, oh my God, DEI, liberals, DEI, it's horrible. This is why DEI was essentially created, is have it so stuff like this, ridiculous stuff like this, isn't there. And granted, this is just an award, so it doesn't. It's as far as like problems are concerned in the world, this is on the low end of the totem pole. But this is another example of where this occurs.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
What do you call that?
Yeah.
Race bias, but sure, but
Yeah.
but
yeah.
which it
the
is
systemic. You're right, because racism is about about systems.
Yeah.
And so that system that picks the winners for this. So yes, you can say there's a level of racism there.
It's allowed.
So because sometimes when we throw out when people hear the word racism, they're like, "Oh, I've never burned a cross on anybody's lawn." They think that's what racism is.
There you go.
Instead of actually looking at the systems that determine certain outcomes.
Man,
what it is. So
on full display.
But then again, like when like I said, I just don't pay attention to the American Music Awards like I used to. I was like, I don't know how Taylor Swift would even care, because it's like, okay, maybe my friends didn't vote, but they did buy tickets.
Sure did.
She did make a statement about it as well too.
Yeah, and you could say the same thing for Kendrick, because I'm seeing these YouTube videos of the tour he's on right now, and he's not playing theaters, he's not playing basketball arenas,
stadiums.
He's playing baseball stadiums. Yeah. I was like, my God.
Yeah.
And Macklemore's album beat out Good Kid, Mad City for her album.
It did.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is like the voters and the vote. Now, mind you, as hard as we've been on the Grammys the entire time we've been doing this show, they have at least addressed things that may have led to that being a thing that happened.
Right.
And
where
then they've overcompensated for it too.
Yeah, perhaps, but maybe they've overcompensated in some people's eyes, but I'm like, oh no, they're actually compensating for where they've been deficient.
Yeah, but to Terry's point, it shouldn't affect another thing. So, example, if Macklemore beats Kendrick, which he shouldn't, the solution is not for next time that this happens to overcorrect. The solution is to be accountable for what you messed up, make those corrections, and not allow this to continue to happen. Part of the issue is not just the fact that Macklemore, yes, there was implicit bias in the fact that Macklemore won, but at the same time, like part of the what am I trying to say? It shouldn't infringe on another year. So the next year, if 5 people are up and the person last year got snubbed, that person shouldn't win the next year just because they got snubbed the previous year. That just recurs. That continues the cycle, right? So that's the only pushback I'd have.
And so, because of course, anybody who sees Beyonce win Country Album of the Year, who, when she's not nominated for one CMA, they think it's an overreach. But at the same time, it's a different group of people who vote for the Grammy country category. And so, like, maybe they just don't get it.
Yeah.
Popularity contest at the end of the day.
Eminem wins again, bro.
But at the same time,
he's popular.
What they say, never let a statue tell you how nice you are.
For sure. Yeah, because even GNX wasn't my favorite from last year. It was Tyler's. So
yeah,
there's that.
Those are the two that I still listen to.
And Vince Staples was really good too.
That one, yep.
So
I'll take that too, yep. But nah, man, Eminem, I guess.
Congratulations.
Yeah, you win again, sir. Your fan base is loyal, consistent.
And they understand the systems that
100%
get you the awards.
And they've held you down since the early 2000s.
Can't be mad at it, honestly.
No, I'm not mad
Since
at that.
TRL days, and they will continue to do so forever and a day.
It's not going to stop until he stops rapping.
So yeah, I don't think we need to continue. I mean, that's the meat and potatoes of the video, but yeah, it's just an award show. I don't really care. It's none of this is that deep. I mean, the racism is deep, obviously, but like, this isn't something that's like, consequential, like super consequential. It's just an AMA. But if you're out there and you struggle with this stuff a little bit, try not to get offended by it. Try to, figure out why people think and feel differently. And especially if you can't answer follow-up questions about your stances. So anyways, congrats to Eminem. This has been my Unpacked series. If you want to check out the full version of this episode, which is episode 439 of the New Old Heads, check our Patreon, patreon.com/newoldheads. You can become a member and get all of our uncut episodes for $2. Or, no, not $2, $5 a month. Support. All right. See y'all. Peace.